My job is to point out how out of touch rich people can be. This should be easy.
I put out a video on TikTok, and boy, did it get a lot of attention.
I'm gonna tell you 5 reasons why you're always gonna be broke coming from a multi-millionaire. Number 1, you shop at Starbucks. Number 2, you do not bring a lunch to work. 3, you live paycheck to paycheck. 4, you make your minimum payment on your credit card. 5, last but not least, you buy liabilities, not assets.
And guess what? I didn't even know that, actually somebody did a whole YouTube video and it got freaking 85,000 views. And so we're going to address this guy's comments and we're going to go through exactly why he's either wrong or right, but love it or hate it, I'm not wrong. I came from dead broke, and I know people are saying, oh, you got daddy's money. No, you can call my dad. He ain't got no money. In fact, I was raised by 2 working class people. My parents got divorced at a very young age. I had a hard work ethic that I would get from my grandpa and my mom. And my dad definitely had a hard work ethic as well. But I would say that I spent most of my time learning that from my mom. And so people who said, I'm out of touch, I'm out of this, I'm out of whatever, we're going to address all that.
You, my friend, are in what is called the rat race. And let me address this. You paid off your car. That's a liability. You should not pay off your car. Rather than paying off your car, I would buy a house with a mortgage to pay for my car. That means the rent from the house pays for the car. Definitely don't take advice from people who are successful. That's been my rule. Do never follow people who've been there before, and don't take advice from millionaires, for sure. And don't look both ways before you cross the street. You're right, they're not facts. I said there's 5 reasons.
My job is to point out how out of touch rich people can be. This should be easy. That was Troy Kearns.
All right, first of all, Jeff Wiggins, great production so far. I'm going to compliment you. I like the intro. I don't even have my real estate license anymore, but yeah, that's my picture from my Zillow. So far, great video. I like it.
And as you can imagine, he got torched in his own comment section.
True.
And other TikTok creators' stitches and duets for this nonsense.
Whoa. There's no nonsense here. This is facts, okay? I might have struck a nerve, Jeff, but it's a true nerve. But let's hear what you got to say.
And while he acknowledges that his 5 reasons that we will always be broke are just that, reasons, not facts, he doubles and even triples down in other videos. So I wanted to see who this dude is. Now, according to him, when he moved to Las Vegas in 2006, quote, although the first 2 years were a rocky start, over the last 7 years, I have sold over 2,500 homes and completed numerous other real estate transactions, adding from his website, from $800,000 in debt to 8-figure millionaire in 5 years plus. 27 sales in the last 12 months.
So that's something that I've had to back up a number of times, but if you're gonna go, and this is not all of my sales, I'm not even licensed anymore. As I told you, I gave my license back to the state of Nevada, not for any other reason that I didn't want to have a license anymore, because I didn't want to have a conflict of interest moving forward down the road. So we're gonna go into Agent Finder. I'll see if I'm still here. And since Jeff doesn't want to put all the facts out there, and I don't appreciate that, Jeff, I think you should put all the facts out there. 27 sales in the last 12 months. Again, I gave my license back about almost a year ago. So those sales were as of whatever. Now, if you scroll down a little bit, and Jeff didn't mention this, you'll see listings and sales since Zillow's been keeping track. 2405. I sold 2,200 homes in 5 years. You just had to scroll down a little bit further and look the fact that I sold 2,400 homes. That wasn't on a team. That was me as an individual.
He has a website where he claims he wants to teach people how to make money by investing in real estate. He has also wrote a book and he has a YouTube channel. I made the mistake of watching too much of his content, and yeah.
So why did he watch too much? This set a nerve off for this guy. You just don't like what you heard. Maybe you go to Starbucks. Maybe you're broke. Maybe you should take action rather than crucifying the fact that I have a video that struck a nerve. I'm glad I did that video. We got 5.2 million views. As you mentioned, a number of stitches about people who were upset. They said it's not people's choices, it's the system. Everything boils down to a choice, unless you, of course, lost a limb, something tragic happened to you. But again, everything that you can control boils down to a choice.
He thinks people need to make sacrifices. For one, he says that he got his start by renting out a spare room of his when he was younger. Before I continue, I don't know how long ago young is for him, and I don't want to guess how old he is. Besides, white people are difficult to age. But with what he said about Starbucks, I assume he's one mention of avocado toast away from being a full-fledged boomer.
Dude, the fact that I'm getting compared to baby boomers is like blowing my mind. My parents are baby boomers. I think I'm actually close to a millennial.
I think he's been a real estate professional for 16 years or so. Well, the average cost of a 2-bedroom apartment in Vegas is $1,587. He knows this. That doesn't include utilities and student loans, which you would probably have to have if you're going to make Vegas's average annual salary of 65 grand.
Who says you gotta have student loans to make an average salary? I don't even know. This guy has presented facts that he believes to be true. Like, just by Googling the average salary and putting up something on the screen doesn't mean it's factual or true or anything like that.
So by renting out a room, does he mean get a roommate? People do that. And that $1,800 saved over time is the equivalent of 1 month of rent and utilities. Save that for just in case, a rainy day. But the worst part of all of this is that Troy Kearns did the math on that coffee that people aren't actually really drinking every single day. And he told someone else that Starbucks every day in a year is $1,800. So the only people who are kept from being a millionaire by coffee are those who make $998,200 a year.
Do you notice how he hasn't gone any further in the video? The fact that people are so upset about Starbucks. Really, the first thing I said is because you drink Starbucks every day. And that's a fact. If you actually go to Starbucks, you'll see there's a huge line. And then you go and you look at all the people that are drinking Starbucks, they don't have any freaking money. Most of them, 99% of them are doing the Starbucks thing because it's a habit. Rather than buying a freaking Keurig in a K-cup for 50 cents, they gotta have their $5 macchiato, their $8 Starbucks or whatever the hell it is. That's not my problem. The fact that he only picked up on that definitely is his problem.
Also this.
Yeah, I don't like Starbucks, but you want to know how many days you'd have to skip your daily $5 latte in order to become a multimillionaire? 400,000 days.
And this is a guy who definitely said he is not blaming people for their choices, but blaming people for the system. He lived a privileged life. He has gone to all Ivy League schools since he was an infant. And he said, don't blame people for their choices, blame the system. I've seen this video.
It's just terrible advice. Stop blaming individuals for their choices when the problem lies with systems and their failures.
So if someone murders someone, should we blame them for their choice? If someone breaks into your car, should we blame them for their choice? Or should we blame the system for not making a good enough human being? It all boils down to choices.
Just let people have the stuff they like. People already got to deal with having to live with a roommate forever and not being able to afford a house despite sacrifices.
Having to live with a roommate forever. You don't have to do nothing. You can choose what you decide to do. You can choose to stop going to Starbucks. You can choose to save your money. You can choose to penny pinch and take some sacrifices like I did. Or you can choose to make a video and tell me I'm wrong. But I went from dead broke. I did that through making sacrifices, not by going to Starbucks. And I still don't go to Starbucks. I'm not the one that puts you in debt. I'm the one that's trying to help you get out of debt. So if you start focusing on what the message really is, which is stop buying Starbucks, stop living paycheck to paycheck, stop investing in liabilities and start buying assets. And if you got a roommate, that's fantastic. But it should be a profit center for you, not just a roommate. Great video, definitely mispresenting the facts. All he had to do was scroll down and see that I've actually sold it. So he's actually kind of put me in the scam category right off the bat, and he's just trying to ride that train. Let's look at some of the comments. I didn't even get into that. I have had just about enough of these effing idiots. I'm not paying $400K for an old 1,500 square foot house or a shitty new build. Eat the rich. You guys out there who are waiting for your politicians that placate to you, that tell you what you want to hear to solve your problems. The system to solve your problems will never get ahead. I'm glad that Jeff's videos give you therapy for what you need to hear. But the reality is, I'm not there to sugarcoat anything. I'm there to tell you exactly how it is. I don't care if you say I'm out of touch. I'm not out of touch. I'm in touch with what works. And what works is hard freaking work, sacrifices, investing your money, paying attention to what you freaking do, not blaming the system, and it's mind freaking set. If your mindset is like this guy's, where you're like, hey, I'm gonna do you guys a big favor by misrepresenting the facts and just telling you that it's super hard to get anywhere. But let's think about all the people like Henry Ford, who was illiterate, who figured out how to build the assembly line and started the minimum wage by paying guys above average at $5 a day back in the time that was revolutionary, or you can think about all the other people who've done great things, or you can be a loser and not do anything and make excuses for everything. I am here to try to educate you and let you know that it's really a possibility to get ahead, not fall behind. I'm telling you because I'm somebody who worked at Burger King. I worked at Skipper's. I worked at Dairy Queen. I worked at Denny's. I started at a Red Robin as a DMO, a dish machine operator. I worked there for 8 years. I paid my way through college. I took a student loan, bought a motorcycle, and then I paid off that student loan with my bartending job. I drove 100 miles on the weekends to go work at Red Robin to pay for my college. I didn't rely on the government for assistance. My parents didn't have the money to pay for it. I paid for the damn thing myself, and I still would to this day. In fact, I wouldn't have gone back to college. I bought a house because I needed a place to live. My home is not an investment. People like that make it impossible for people like me to buy a home these days. A bunch of the people, they're just making excuses. Like, here's the deal. If you're working a 9-to-5 job and you can't get ahead, I get it. You need to get a side hustle. And if you have got 5 children, guess what? That was a choice. So you got to figure something else out. You can't just keep blaming your decisions and where you're at to get ahead. You actually have to make changes. You have to write things down, change your mindset, and it's a slow process. You can't just wish your way to success. I had a mindset because I grew up freaking broke and I saw my parents struggle. I wasn't eating out of garbage cans or anything like that, but they struggled. Everything boiled down to money. But my mindset shifted and I knew that the only way to get ahead was by changing what's in here. So if you are working a 9-to-5 job and you're not able to get ahead, then you may want to consider getting on a budget. If you are working a 9-to-5 job and you're out max, then you may want to consider starting a side hustle, like renting out your car on Turo. But if you're interested in making changes, and if you've got anything like, hey Troy, you're out of touch, I don't mind, comment below, let me know. I'm not the one that's here to sugarcoat it for you. I'm the one that's here to give it to you straight. And Jeff, if you ever want to get on the dialogue and have a conversation man to man where you actually are willing to hear my side of the story and we're willing to talk to each other as human beings, I'm more than happy to have you on my podcast. I think you'll find me to be a real individual, not just someone you can poke fun at. Peace.
It's true that we have inflation and there's a lot of concern about a recession. I don't see any of that in the short term.
If you're worried about a recession, you need to be in recession-proof businesses. Storage is recession-proof. Real estate is recession-proof.